Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, Fox News strategic analyst, author of the book Valley of the Shadow. Colonel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Bill.
There's a lot to go through here. Putin tells us to get out. What will we do?
Well, for now, we'll continue to fly. But make no mistake, Putin thinks Obama is so weak that I believe that Putin would not be reluctant to shoot down a U.S. drone as a warning and possibly even bring down a U.S. manned aircraft. Knowing Obama would not respond militarily, Putin would say, oh, it's all an accident, it's a misunderstanding, we need to deconflict, you need to get out of the airspace. And Putin is on a roll. And by the way, Bill, he is not hitting Islamic State. That's his line. Got to defeat Islamic State. He's hitting the opposition in between the Islamic State and Assad's government. And it's transparent. He wants to wipe out all of the opposition to Assad except Islamic State, leaving us with a stark choice, leaving the world with a stark choice, support Assad or support Islamic State. This guy is good, and we've got a pixie dust president who still thinks he can say something 3 times and make it come true.
It was pretty extraordinary to watch him on 60 Minutes the other night. I mean, he basically said what we've been saying for 15 years. Fight them over there so they don't come here. Wow.
Well, he's got the lines down. Putin is a master of propaganda. He's brilliant at turning a situation on its head, in where he's going into Syria to rescue the world, save the world from ISIS. And oh, by the way, remember, under international law, Vladimir Putin, despicable though he is, has a better case for being there than we do, because the Assad government is the last Syrian government seated at the United Nations. It invited Putin in. We weren't invited in. So Putin's working all this stuff, and it's important to, despite all the nonsense from the White House and the Baghdad Bob behavior on the part of Josh Ernst, what Putin is doing, his goals are absolutely transparent. First, he wants to support Assad. That's the tactical goal. Second, he intends to do as much mischief as possible while Obama's still in office and unable to act or unwilling to act. So he presents the next potentially stronger U.S. president with a fait accompli on the ground, with a situation that's irreversible. And third and long term, he is building an alliance in the Middle East with Iran, Iraq, and Syria to keep us out. He is betting on the Shia Muslims against the Sunnis. He's erecting a wall of Shia-dominated states that are anti-U.S., pro-Russian, and we're still looking at the tiny little bits and pieces. Ooh, Syria. Ooh, Iraq. It's all one big mess. Thank you, Mr. President.
Here from 2012, then President Medvedev on a hot mic with President Obama. Listen.
Yes, and after my election, I have more flexibility. I understand. I transmit this information to Vladimir.
How do we view that now? That was about missile defense, by the way.
Yeah, well, that was always about Obama putting more faith in Medvedev and Vladimir Putin than he put in the American people. Think about it. He was telling the Russians, I've got to deceive the American people through the election, but then I'll be able to cooperate with you more fully. I mean, Bill, what's troubling to me, among many things, what's deeply troubling, listening to the UN speech on Monday and everything Obama and the administration has said since, in almost 7 years, this president has not learned that words don't stop bullets. He is fundamentally out of touch with human reality, with the reality of history, with the reality of warfare, and Vladimir Putin, ruthless and vicious and ugly though he is, has his pulse on the... He's the one that's on the side of history now, not us. We're clinging to 20th century platitudes, and Putin is changing the world as we do nothing.
Help me understand if Putin's successful. If he succeeds at his game now, how do things change?
Well, it changes that Russia is back, and that's Putin's playing card, his card with the Russian people. You know, Obama keeps talking about the shape of the Russian economy. Russians expect life to suck. They expect pensions to be frozen. But they're proud that Putin has reestablished Russia as at least the illusion of a great power. He's now expanding abroad. Russia's going to have its first real presence in the Middle East in 4 decades. And so the Russian people are behind this guy. And we're in denial. We keep saying, oh, well, the Russian economy is weak. Don't worry about it. Right, that doesn't matter. What matters is that Putin is a man of action. And And God help us, our president is a deer caught in the headlights of history.
Well, we will see what happens from the White House today. We'll get reactions certainly in a moment here. But you say the airstrikes will not stop on behalf of the U.S. and that Arab coalition. We'll see if that's the case. Colonel, thank you. Ralph Peters there in Washington analyzing the early details of this breaking news story now. Thanks, Patty Ann.
Look in all the dictionaries. There is no word for what we do. It's not tradition, though our craft is timeless. Innovation can only begin to describe it. We sculpt, paint, and explore. But explorers, sculptors, and painters, we are not. There is no word for what we do. There is only a way. The Rolex way.
Denizens of the last star, do you hear that sound? That is the sound of the inevitable. It's only a matter of time before the last star is consumed by the void. A frightening prospect, I know. But you may take some comfort in the fact that I, Lothar Rindane, have ensured that something of this universe will survive. And you're trying to stop me because that something doesn't include you. Your spirit is admirable, but spirit can't save you from what's coming. Nothing can. Not your sharpest blades, which are admittedly pretty cool or whatever. Not your stockpiles of munitions. Not your, what is this, magic? Not your insane robots, or your talents, or your butt theatrics! Ah! Give me a hand, won't you? Now then, where was I? Oh, yes. You are going to die. The only choice left to you is how. You can die alone. You can die clinging to your idiot friends. Or you can die with the rest of the misbegotten filth that gutterballed into this wretched system. Take your pick, but you will die. And so, back to that sound. That is the last choking gasp of a dying cosmos doomed to the dark. That is the sound of the end.